Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Crystal Cockerham with Wisdom Awakens. I am author, mentor, and feminine wisdom teacher. And today I'm coming to you live with the Feminine Wisdom Keeper Spotlight on author, creatrix, and Reiki teacher master Heather Maria. She is the author of the books Goddess Messages, A Book of Love, 63 Divine Channeled Messages, and Amethyst and Pyres, the story of how it all began. Heather Maria provides divine inspiration, encouragement, wellness, clarity, and wisdom. She is also a Reiki master teacher, holistic wellness practitioner, and coach, divine intuitive empath, astrologer, shaman, photographer, and artist. She is extremely knowledgeable about holistic health, apothecary, essential oils, energy work, wellness, angel oracle, and tarot cards, astrology, crystals, gemstones, birthright, numerology, chakras, herbs, the universe, ancient history, and this world. Her products include divinely guided and crafted oil blends, ancient sacred bracelets, and a children's book. Her products and services were developed with the mind, body, spirit, soul, and heart in mind. Her healing art inspires the world. And to top that all off, lovely Miss Heather Maria also is a photographer and has some beautiful work as well as some poetic verses out there in the world. So welcome, Heather. So happy to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
Yeah. So I see that we have been joined by some people. So I just want everyone to be able to put your name in the comments. I'm using StreamYard to be live here with the lovely Heather Maria today. So if you could just state your name and say hello and let us know where on the globe you're joining us from, that would be really wonderful. And throughout the stream, should you have any questions for Heather or myself, we would love to know so that we can weave them into our conversation for you. So Heather, I wanted to talk to you because this year, I've known you for a couple of years now via the web and some of our networking circles, and as well as your being a member of my Feminine Wisdom Keepers group. So yay.
Yeah.
And so this year you've had not just one, but two professional and personal milestones with published works by adding author to your title. And so I just wanted to share with viewers, hold on, I got to get this right. Amethyst and Pyres, the story of how it all began. This was the first of your published works, correct?
Actually, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. It was supposed to be. It was supposed to be. But I was inspired to release the channeled messages from the goddesses first before that came out. It was a bit of a shock to me. This year went a little bit different than I thought. I was waiting for the book, which yes, that was the one. That was the one.
Yeah, that's the understatement of the year. This year did not go as planned, right?
It did not. I was waiting for my book to be designed, and it took some time. They did it a lot faster than I thought, but my birthday in April came around, and we were in a shutdown, and I divinely understood we need to put this messages out here in a book, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and so they're beautiful messages. So let's talk about that a little bit then, and we'll start with the Goddess book. When did you first know, Heather, that you were able to connect with otherworldly guidance and channel wisdom such as this?
I really started at a very young age. I think I really came into this world being able to do that. My parents told me that I would that I was very different. I would lay in my crib and connect and talk, and not, as children, we don't form words as much. So I think I was doing that. I started walking and talking at a young age, and I always felt that connection. I never lost where I came from. Is how I feel. That's how I view it. So I've done that most of my life. It wasn't until about 2017 that I decided to start writing this down and sharing it with the world.
Got it. And so when was it that you realized that, like looking back, when, because of course in the moment you wouldn't necessarily remember that, right? As children, we're just wide open, we're sponges and no judgment and all of that. But looking back, when was the first time that you can say guidance came through and you knew you had to share it?
Well, as an adult, it would probably, there was a huge shift in 2010, pretty much. But I think as a teenager, sharing it would be different. As a teenager, I did recognize that, and then I think my path just waited until about 2010, 2012, and most definitely 2013 is when I felt extremely guided to connect with other women, connect with the channeling, the messages, the energy, the Reiki, the divine. That's when I really felt compelled to do that and to help other people.
Well, great. And that that's amazing. And so, how was that for you? And what I mean by that is, how was that for you to really be able to share that gift with others? Were you approached by someone, or did you just like put it out there and start going public?
I met a woman. There was divine guidance. My grandmother actually passed away. This is something intuitively that runs in my family, and
Mhm.
on both sides of my family. And the grandmother that I was closest to, I was a caretaker for her. And in 2013, early 2013, she passed away. And there was someone over the internet that I was introduced to who lived in my state, and I started to talk to her, and it sort of just created a circle of women who I met through her, and I started to share my gifts with them. They all have gifts. I believe we all do a little bit different sometimes. So I started to share my gifts with them, and what I felt in my heart, it almost doesn't go into words. How I was able to help them, they were able to help me too, in many ways. I think that goes both ways with communication and relationships, but to be able to help them and for them to say that to me gave me the encouragement to want to continue on my path.
Nice. That's a true gift, because many don't have that support or that openness to be able to share with other people right from the get-go, and then to be able to really hone and fine-tune those skills to bring them outside of that circle and to others. So that's really a blessing that you had.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about the Goddess Messages, a Book of Love. Um, opening this up just for our viewers. You have, brief channeled messages from different, hold on, this is backwards from Zoom. You have, brief but powerful channeled messages and words of wisdom from, goddesses and guides like Holy Amethyst, the Divine Sophia, Maat, Maat. Is there any particular angels, goddesses, or guides who speak to you more often than others?
I will tell you I have been connected for a while with the goddess realm, so it has grown. The one that did come to me first was Mary Magdalene. She is a beautiful soul, beautiful spirit. She is the one that encouraged me last year, mostly last year, to come through with I believe everything that I'm doing for the past year, the books, the oils, some divine bracelets. But she came to me last August and told me that there was going to be a time in November where I would need to sit down and write these messages. And she said that the world would enjoy hearing them. The world needs to hear them. It would be inspired by them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one I suppose that I would connect with the most. This year, that was last year in August, and then this year it has been a lot of Athena and Artemis.
Not interesting. Both Greek,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Athena, goddess of wisdom. Artemis, I always think of her as protector of the maiden.
Yes. Yeah.
Very earthly, elemental being.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me more about that, and what guided you to publish this book, and can we look forward to more?
Yes, there will be more. I self-published this one. I think I might go the same way, unless I was to connect with someone else. I have been thinking about it, and to be honest, I thought I was going to do another one, maybe already written, and
Uh-huh.
I haven't. But I think it's because of this way the world has gone. This year has been very different. Sometimes it changes our needs. Sometimes it changes the world's needs. So I plan on writing a lot more books, and I think that I will write more channeled messages. I really enjoy doing it, and the goddesses love to speak. They really do. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of fun, and they have a lot of wisdom to share. So I think I'd have to figure out if I want to do the same format or something different.
Right. I mean, because there's so many formats. When I was going through the books, so when you read them for yourself, it's different than when you're looking at them to prepare for this situation of us getting together over a cup of tea and me asking you questions, right? So yeah, when I was looking over this, I thought, gosh, how beautiful this would be in some kind of like a calendar form, maybe, or yeah, or like day one such and such, day two such and such. Like I mean, really, the possibilities are endless. It could be a journal with the channeled message on top and giving the people room to reflect, beneath. Like just so many opportunities that opens up for this. Um, so yeah, for me, it was important to ask. And then of course, in your bio, you have a plethora, a vast tool chest of everything that you do. So there's so much wisdom in everything, between the goddesses and the angels and the different elements, and really just tuning into different spiritual guides and ascended masters and all of that. So really the sky's the limit. So I'm excited to see what you do with it next.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's wonderful. I have to try to figure out what would be important next. And it's wonderful you mentioned about the calendar, because that was something that was in mind for that I was going to do this year for next year. And that again, I guess, I do follow divine guidance. I still do.
Mm-hmm.
I follow what's in my highest good, what's in everyone's highest good. That's pretty much my thought process. So, but it is exciting to know that I have a lot of options that I can go with, and I'm so grateful to hear that from you, that you and other people would be excited to see that.
Oh, absolutely. I believe that we, like you, we are all born with gifts. And I also believe that when you take hold of your gifts and you really harness them and you choose to share them, that you're sharing them because it is in the highest and greatest good for all of those who are open to receive. And so it could be a channeled message from November 1st, 2020, that really makes a huge impact on somebody when they pick up the calendar or the journal or, whatever format it's in, right? Because I mean, really, the possibilities are endless, and they flip it open. It's just timeless wisdom for people, right? And
Exactly.
you
Hmm.
just never know through time and space how many souls and spirits can be affected by that.
Right. I completely, I completely agree. I was speaking with someone about the book last weekend, and she said she was curious what the goddesses had to say for this year. And I said, right? But I said, it's wonderful. I said, but these are timeless. The messages that they share, they can share immediate ones on what is going on in the world and
Mhm.
that way too. But I think that when they incorporate everything, they always incorporate history. They incorporate what's important here on this earth, in the universe, on the planet. And it's always filled with love. That's why I wanted to call the book a book of love, because they don't do anything that isn't part of love. And
Mhm.
that's really a powerful message for me, and something that they'd want to share, that everything done within love. And that's just what is so important to them in their heart.
Yeah. Yeah, very powerful. And so before because I do want to talk about Amethyst and Pyres.
Mhm.
Um, I do want to talk about Amethyst and Pyres, but I have a question, because when we connected to set up our talk today, the spotlight today, you had mentioned that you have been crafting different blends of sprays that go along with the goddesses. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a variety.
And so are those popular?
They have been not as much as I expected it to be. I guess I wasn't really sure yet.
Mm-hmm.
They are so new, um, and I have not probably advertised or marketed them as much, but everybody that I have met so far has been at least interested in them. I started with a few other oils, one for the chakras that was very popular. It's been
Mm-hmm.
very popular. But I think that I've met a lot of people who still don't know about the goddesses and the angels. They may know that they exist, but they might not know their names or what they're about or why they'd want to purchase an oil. But there are many people who are here to learn, here to learn. And that's really why I think that I was guided to write the book and do the oils as almost like a teaching tool for people to remember, to connect with, and to use. And I think they're wonderful. And everyone that I met says they work for them in the way that they choose. Because for me, I call them intention oils. And your intention is to connect with that specific goddess or angel, or in any way that you choose to.
Yeah. So, do you do more like in-person events where your products are available, or do you also have an online store?
I do have an online store. I use Etsy for
Oh,
my.
Etsy. Okay.
I do have a website. I don't have all of the oils on the website yet, but I do have Etsy, and I just recently started showing them in person about a month ago. So with the way the
Brand
world,
spanking new.
yeah, and everything the way the world is, a lot of stores have been closed and not open to taking new products or showing products, and so the world's been a little different this year. It even goes with the books where to do readings or anything like that, there really isn't much open for that. And it's been new. It's been a new process. It's been almost a year now. Um, but the oils are pretty new this year, so so
Yeah.
to find a way to show everybody about them and see what they think. I'd love to know what more people think about them.
Yeah, so we've had a few people pop on, and we do have a comment. And the comment when we were talking about the oils was, "Ooh, how cool!" So, just for the viewers who have just joined us, I am using StreamYard to go live and to be able to share my screen with Heather today. And so, unless you gave StreamYard permission to state your name, I'm going to ask you to say hello, just kind of put your first name and let us know where on the globe you're joining us from. Because on my end, I see Facebook user and then the comment, just so you know, because I would really like to address you personally. And so, yeah, Heather, I have run into that. So I have really, I've always loved playing with crystal elixirs. It was something that I picked up when I was doing my Melody Crystal Healing certification. And just in the last year, I started making them available public, but in person. Um, it's Lisa from Michigan. Hi, Lisa from Michigan. Thank you for joining. Um, and so I believe that some things people really enjoy that conversation and being introduced to them. And I've been asked often, like, are you going to make these available online? And my answer has always been, and I think still is, like, when I have a full-time assistant who can
That's true. That's actually, and that's where I think I stayed more in my creative office. And it
yeah.
took a little while. It takes a while to do the creativity and then to do the one, put it online, be the one to put it out there. I still love doing that. I've always loved office work and computer work, but you have to kind of shift in and out, and then we have lives too. So it's interesting what we choose and how we're guided, and it's a
Mhm.
process. And as long as we appreciate that process, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I have actually been guided over the last couple of months to start really bringing to life the opportunity for that to be, a service, online, so to speak. And so we've also been joined by Cheryl in Michigan. Hi, Cheryl. And our lovely Heather is just from across the other side of Lake Michigan. She is in Wisconsin. Um, so that's beautiful. So, my dear Heather, amethyst, this is so much backwards, isn't it? Amethyst in, is it Pyres? Pyres?
Pyres.
Pyres.
Mm-hmm.
And the story of how it all began. Tell us where the idea of this book came from for you.
Oh boy. I had a lot of other stories in mind. It's so interesting. It must have been something um, that I had in my path, definitely. I love crystals. I love connection. I love relationships. I love the universe. I think it was intertwined with everything that I do love. Um, so one day, it, I was told 7 years ago, somebody came to me and said, "You're going to write a children's book." And I thought, okay, that's great, but it wasn't where I was at that time. I was focused on other things, and but I love to write. And all of a sudden, last year, it was last October, I was listening, and I said, okay, I'm going to write this book. And it was almost like automatic writing. I sat down and I wrote the book in 2 days. I wrote I wrote half of it one day, and um, it was something that I love amethyst and I love Pyres. I love pyrite. I call them Pyres, but it's pyrite to me. So
Mhm.
and it was a story about two crystals that emerge and go on an adventure in the universe. And I think the book teaches about love, about gratitude, being thankful, having fun, and it's just a really cute story.
It really is. It's a lovely story of how, the crystal comes to life in human form, and to me it was a dancing awake of the universe in the planetary alignment, right? And it was just ooh. And so for me, I'm going to ask you now, is there an adventures of Amethyst and Pyrus coming up? Because I would like to know more about each of the planets.
Yes, there. It's going to be a series. It will definitely be a series of books. I have them somewhat written in my mind. I wasn't sure which way to go first. I think the universe part would be first. There's going to be adventure with them on Earth. I suppose it could be an adventure on every single planet, to be honest. It could. So that's yeah. But definitely, I definitely want it to be a series. I think it's really important. It's really fun. I want it to be a way for children to remember the fun of life and the connection and yeah, just to bring back a little more fun is what I think.
Yeah, for me, as I was reading it, it really brought to life, when you're working and engaging with your inner child, that wonderment, right? If you think of a child, their potential for wonderment is endless and it's infinite. Um, why, how, why, until they get to what they really want to know, and they don't know what they want to know until you say it and they ask you why 50 times.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So it really kind of pulled on those strings for me as I was reading the story. So how do you see your all of your talents kind of coming together now in this time of it's almost like all of us have been simultaneously hibernating and going within while also bringing to life these new aspects of ourselves, right? Like sharing um, these new gifts, and not playing in a sense of being careless playing, but playing with new offerings that we wouldn't have thought of before, or maybe had the opportunity to bring to life, um, with the exception of the oddity come to be known as 2020.
Right. um, I think that this has been a year to really explore yourself. Um, and I think it's been a year to think about your gifts. And I really truly believe it's been a year to kind of slow down. I know it's been odd and it maybe not what we exactly wanted, but I think it's been a year to slow down. And if we think about the positiveness of it rather than the negative and what it can bring us and what it can do for us, or to reflect on what it did do for us, I think that there's going to be a better way of life. I think there's going to be a better way of doing things. And I think a lot of fear has gone away and is going away. I think that there's a lot of us that are here to bring light to everyone, or to help them remember that there is light and they are light. And I've seen so many young children. That's another part of my heart, is to work with children, really knowing and understanding who they are and wanting to bring something better to this world than what we've had. I think it's really important that we pay attention.
And that's powerful and beautiful. And thank you so much for not only thinking about it, but also doing it and really walking that talk.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't think I could do it any other way, to be honest. And I'm thankful and I'm blessed, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So in your bio, you also state that you're a Reiki master and you teach Reiki.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I have a very good suspicion of how that plays into all of the other aspects of you and what you share. But I would really like our viewers to hear from you how you utilize all those other aspects and weave them into everything that you are creating and putting out in the world.
Um, I believe I have studied energy since I was very young. I'm not the type of person to always go to school to study things. That this wasn't how I was.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of time in the library. I spent a lot of time by myself, listening and connecting within, and I paid attention to energy. And I believe we are all built on energy. Everything's built on energy. So everything trickles down from energy. So everything that we list, even in my bio, it's all part of energy. And so that's how I weave everything together. I believe that energy can help heal the planet. It can help heal us. Once you understand that, it's almost like the divine spark. It's a divine spark. It really, that word phrase really sits with me. Nature, earth, universe, God, goddess, spirits, spirit guides, our spirit, our soul, and I think I just weave that together in order to share in the best way that I can, or the best way that I know how. I love doing one-on-one with people. I don't mind a group setting. It's amazing, but I do love doing one-on-one with people because I feel like I can connect with them specifically, and I can give them my attention, and I can listen. And that's pretty much where I like to tailor things to. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll see where that goes. We'll see where that goes, because if I have a lot to share, or as people who have a lot to share, it's wonderful to do it in groups and find different, unique, creative ways to do that. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and as a facilitator and practitioner myself, for me, it's always finding ways to stretch my
Mm-hmm.
abilities and to grow into new ones and to hone um, more and more skills. And so, getting out of that comfort zone, I talk about that a lot.
Don't listen to the ego. That's one thing that's stuck. from you put it. I forgot what you used, but the general is what I think you said it
The
was.
faithful general, yeah.
General, right? Don't listen to the ego. That is another reason I work with the mind, body, spirit, soul, and heart. I say if you're going to listen to anything, listen to your heart. That's it served me well my entire life, and I think that once you connect with that, instead of listening to the chatter or the noise, um, we have a much better life.
Yeah. And so you've shared throughout our time here today how everything, like you can't remember a time where you didn't feel connected or where you didn't know about energy or you didn't study about energy. So what was your parents' background?
Um, Very humble, very very humble, very supportive. Um, I guess we didn't come from a lot of money, but we we I guess we chose the path of being maybe of service. I don't know if that's the right word, but a caretaker, supportive, very family orientated. We spent a lot of time with family. That's all I remember growing up is spending time with family, choosing jobs of service. Um, and my mom didn't even work for quite some time as I was younger. She stayed home with myself and my brother, and she was wonderful. She was just the most wonderful parent I think you could ever have because she was supportive, she was honest, she was caring, and she also let me do what I wanted to do without being a controlling parent, or which I see a lot. It can cause different types of traumas and fears, and we talked at home, and that's really what um, was the best setting for me. So I really do appreciate the conversation that we've had, and we talked about ancestors. I have a whole wall full of people that I've never even met before that were part of my family line, and that was always important to us.
Very cool. And so were they artistic as well?
Not really artistic. Not really. Not. I wouldn't say not really artistic. They very different. I'm very different from most of my family, or I chose to use my gifts, and maybe they chose their path here to be supportive um,
Mm-hmm.
of myself, not only myself but of others.
Yeah.
So when you look at what I do, they had knowledge of it, absolutely had knowledge of it. Everything that I do, they had that knowledge, but they didn't choose to manifest it in a way to share their gifts with the world.
And that's still beautiful because I work with so many people who shut their gifts down or had them shut down because of not being accepted or valued or validated from family, not being nurtured, not being supported. Um, and that's it requires a lot of work. And the side of the client to reconnect with and learn to trust and nurture those gifts. Do you have children, Heather?
I don't have children. No, I chose a pretty heavy mission in this life. So I chose to stay independent. Um, I have a lot of family, a lot of friends, a lot of distant family and friends who I consider my family. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's been a really great life. I think that it's been fun being independent and empowering and um, following my own path. It just it's not for everybody. Everybody has their own path in life,
Right.
but this is what really suited me the best. And I absolutely love children, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see where this path leads me.
Right. Well, I mean, I just see your children's book leaving such a great impact
Mm-hmm.
um, on the up and coming and future generations to come. So it was something I hadn't thought of to ask you before now. So yeah, I love that. And do you have, so for you to be able to offer and bring your gifts out into the world, because the title of today's speaking was connecting with your inner creatrix goddess archetype.
Yeah.
So how is it that you connect with this aspect of yourself, and what words of advice and guidance do you have for our viewers listening now and in their own perfect time?
I two things. Well, self-respect, self-care, and self-love. That's really where I think it all begins. If we don't fill our own cup first, we can't express ourselves properly. Even I like to say that we can't help others, which is truthful. But if we don't sit with ourselves first and find a way to do that, I like to tell, encourage people to find a little peace. I like um, hands on heart, whether it be sitting out in nature or lighting a candle, journaling your thoughts. There's a multitude of ways that you can connect within, but the most important is to sit with yourself. No noise, nothing else. And it's okay if you have your thoughts. That's absolutely fine. Some people say shut your thoughts off, and it doesn't always work that way for everyone. So if you have thoughts, I encourage people to speak out loud if they want to, or just speak inside their mind, or to write it down. But the most important thing is to connect with yourself, because you have a spirit, you have a soul, you absolutely have a mind and a body. And if it's not all connected along with your heart, it becomes really difficult to express yourself properly and your gifts. So that's how you tune into your gifts and then find a way to express them.
Yeah, beautiful. Well said. Yay. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I encourage people, like, meditation, traditional meditation is getting to that still point of nothingness, right? That full resting position for the brain, for the mind. And however, to quiet everything, that is a really deep, powerful, and profound reset. But when you are trying to access clarity or to gain insight on something, I really encourage people to go into a state of like contemplation, where they are focused on that one thing, and then they open themselves up to receive insight and information. And I also believe that it's very important to speak aloud so that you're engaging more senses,
Yeah.
right? When you engage all of your senses, or as many as you possibly can, it really helps you to receive on more and more levels, and to be able to begin the process of bringing things to life and shedding more light on them. So I loved hearing that. So thank you. Believe it or not, I know that it's way more common than most people will admit, because they think, oh no, you just meditate and go and blah blah blah. But there's so many ways of doing it, and really sharing what works for different ones can really only help other people, especially those who are newer and still trying out, all of these new things. And in all of my groups and circles, there's a lot of fogginess around meditation, because there are so many different levels and ways to do that. So I really loved your share. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I would really love for you, Heather, to be able, when we're done with the live, to plop your Etsy link in the comments, so that those who are interested can check out your oils, your sprays and blends for the goddesses and the chakras, because those were received well. And I am inviting everyone who's viewing this live or on the replay to feel free to ask your questions and to comment on this video. Heather and I will be coming back and monitoring the comments for some time now, but feel free to tag us so that it pops up in our notifications and we don't miss it. So thank you, Heather, so much for joining me today. And I just want to end with saying that the Feminine Wisdom Keeper Spotlight is something that is open to all members of my Feminine Wisdom Keepers group. whether they are entrepreneurs or not, because they are keepers of feminine wisdom, or else they wouldn't be in the group to remember and to share that wisdom. And that is my goal, to, share that with everyone else. So if you're interested in checking out that group, when I'm done with the live, I'll go ahead and pop that link to sign up, so that you can request to be a member. The cost is answering 2 questions in your email. It's pretty easy peasy, like a 40-second thing. And you get access to live trainings every week and so much more. And you share the space with some very, very powerful and awakened women, such as Heather here. So if you were to leave us with any... Oh, somebody said yes, please. Okay, that both of those things will happen, because I'm not sure what the yes, please is referring to. So if you were to leave our viewers with one last piece and how they can find you, what would that be?
My website is the best way, and that is heathermaria123.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I cannot wait to hear about the next book, or the next project, and the next great thing.
Right, exactly. Well, yes, definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So enjoy the rest of 2020, and I know that we will be chatting soon. So thank you all for joining me today. This is Crystal Cockerham of wisdomawakens.com. If, again, I will put the link to Feminine Wisdom Keepers group in the comments, and you'll be able to find Heather's Etsy link here shortly as well. Thank you so much for tuning in and taking your time with us today. If you are watching this on the replay, I love how you have decided to tune in your own lovely divine timing. But please do a hashtag replay. And if you have a question specifically for one of us, myself or Heather Maria, please tag us and we'll be happy to get back to you. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week, and we will see you again soon, or I will see you again soon. Bye for now.